Welcome back to Marnie's Everyday Adventures. I'm Marnie, and today I'm going to give you some tips about walking around in Mumbai. And I know you might be thinking, wow, how hard is it to walk? I know how to walk. I walk in wherever I live, and it's fine. I just think that India is a little bit different than other countries I've been to. It's definitely different from where I grew up. And so if you're used to walking, in suburbia on nice wide sidewalks, and there's these rules on how you cross the street and you wait for the light and all those things, it's a little bit different here. It's just not the same. And I know when I first visited last year, I thought I would never be able to walk on the street by myself. I was scared and intimidated, and I didn't understand the rules or the way traffic worked. I'm not sure I still understand that, but I know how to get by. I know how to cross streets. And so I'm sharing some tips on how you can safely navigate the streets of Mumbai. Just a little side note. Yes, I got my hair done. It is darker, and I even flat ironed it today. We'll see if it stays as we go around outside in this humid weather. But it's growing, which I'm so excited about. I cut it all off, about a year ago, I think. So I'm happy that it's growing out, and I think it looks much better now. Let's go for a walk. Tip number 1. Don't be married to the sidewalk. I love to be married to the sidewalk. It's my safe place. And there's reasons, there are sidewalks here, but a lot of them are covered, or have things on them, like cows or fruit stands or vegetables or fish or whatever. It's not always a path through. So don't be married to the sidewalk. That's my tip number 1. Be willing to go into the street, and part of that is trust. You have to trust that you're not going to get hit, especially hit from behind, which was my biggest fear. So walk close to the cars and just keep moving. Go around, stand. If there's a long path of sidewalk, you can obviously take that, and I do. But sometimes it's easier just to stay in the street. It's the way people walk here. They are just used to it. The cars are used to it. The rickshaws are used to it. The bikes are used to it. It just makes it overall easier, and for the most part faster than weaving in and out, because sidewalks aren't your safest bet, especially because they're rarely even. They go up and down. There's lots of driveways and things like that. Stay in the street, which I know is counterintuitive. The honking used to scare me a lot, until I realized it means something different here. In the States, it means get the fuck out of the way, you're gonna get run over, or I'm going to hit you, or something. Here, it's more of a, hi, I'm right here, location service. Oh, I'm coming up behind you. It's not you're in the way. It's just letting you know that somebody's there or coming up. So it doesn't scare me anymore like it did initially when I was first walking around, because I always felt like I was in the way. Okay, my next tip has to do with intersections and crossing the street. And this street is normally very busy. It's very busy in the morning. So I walked this way to go to the pool, and I was so scared to cross the intersection because I don't understand the intersections here. The signs don't make sense. Crosswalks don't make sense. People basically just go whenever they want. So I try not to risk my life at an intersection. My tip is don't cross at an intersection like this. I know there's crosswalk lines and signs and little walk signs and don't walk signs, but I don't understand them, and nobody seems to follow them. So I find that it's easier to go down the street a ways to cross the street to get where you want to go, because there's less things to keep track of. If you have to cross here at an intersection, this is what I do. I follow someone. I pick someone who's going the way I want to go. I try to pick someone trustworthy, that I think will know what they're doing here, so they can tell me when to cross the street. That's the best thing to do. It's just easier. They know what they're doing. I do not. So don't cross at an intersection. Go and jaywalk all over India. That's my suggestion. All right, so I've made it down that street a bit, so there's only 2 lanes of traffic right now. And so it is much easier to cross, because you can also stop in the middle of the road if you need to wait for the other traffic. You don't have to get across all in one go. So that's something to keep in mind. So much easier. Made it across. I'm now walking on the other side of the street. Top tip, don't cross at intersections. We didn't learn that as kids, that's for sure. Not in the States. After all that stress of intersections, walking in the street, I think it's time to get a coffee. And what about Okay, I'm fueled up, ready for our last and final tip, but we're gonna walk a little bit before we get there. Okay, so I was just standing at that intersection, which is a pretty small intersection. There isn't a lot of traffic, but even then, I prefer not to go across there. I just went over like, I don't know, maybe 30 feet or so to where I just crossed a tiny street. You know what, I want less stress, so it's less stressful, and I feel like I'm less likely to get killed out here by a rickshaw, of all things. Which brings me to my 3rd tip, and that is something we learned as little kids. Look both ways. But my tip is look both ways probably like 10 times before you actually cross. I'm from the States, so we drive on the right side of the road. Here, they drive on the left side of the road, which I'm still not used to. And I don't trust myself to look the right way the first time. So I look back and forth probably 5 or 6 times at least before I start crossing, just to make sure I haven't assumed traffic is going in a different direction. And I think that's important. Whether you're here or in Europe, anywhere really. I almost died the first time I was in Paris because I looked the wrong way. So always check traffic multiple times. And it's gonna help you. It might take you a little bit longer to get places, but you won't end up in a hospital. Okay, so let's recap my top tips. Tip number 1, don't be married to the sidewalks. Walk in the street. Stay close to the cars, but walk in the street. At first, I was more comfortable just walking directly behind someone, and then I knew we'd both get hit. But it's fine. They expect you to walk in the street. There's space for you. They'll make space for you to walk in the street. Tip number 2, don't cross at intersections. Jaywalk. Go down the street, cross where there's less things to keep track of. It is easier. Do whatever is easier and less stressful for you. Finally, tip number 3, look both ways multiple times before you cross. Make sure you understand which way traffic is coming from so you know you have a clear way. It may take you longer to get places. Just be patient. I hope these tips were helpful for you and that you can enjoy your travels all over India. Be careful, be safe out there. Thanks for coming along. Like and subscribe to see more content like this. Thank you so much for joining.